Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Love Seat. And I have to admit, it feels really good to be back. But honestly, it feels a little bit emotional to be back because, as you guys know, we've been gone for a minute.
Yeah, I didn't think we would be back, honestly. But I'm so thankful that we are back. We really missed y'all.
Yes, and, life has really taken us on a journey that we didn't expect. But, of course, in life, you just kind of learn to expect the unexpected. And for us, the past 4 months, I think, has been filled with a lot of growth, a lot of heartache, healing, all the above. And today, we just wanted to really open up with you guys, catch you up, and share what we've been doing and where we're going in this next chapter for us.
Now, this is a very personal episode. It's all about grief, hope, faith, and miracles. So if you are listening, I will hope you will listen with an open heart because this is very, very special for us.
Yeah. So before we dive in, Cam, if you could describe this last season that we were just in one word, what would it be?
I would say transformation because we have, of course, been dealing with the death of your father, which has been life-changing for us.
Yeah.
And it's forced us to grow and to adapt and to use that pain for growth, to make meaning from it. And we've had some other major life changes as well that we're going to get into, but it's been an amazing transformation.
Yeah, I think transformation is definitely a good word. A word that I would use, I would say challenging.
Yeah.
Challenges. I feel like death and grieving is never easy, especially losing my father. We were so close. He was really a part of my everyday life from the loft to where we are right now, working here.
Yeah.
When we would travel, he would watch our house, the dogs. And honestly, I just miss calling him every day and talking.
Yeah.
If I was feeling sad, if I was feeling happy, I called and told my dad everything.
And he loved it too. He loved hearing from you more than anything, just chopping it up and telling his stories as well.
Absolutely. And, I feel like that's the thing about grieving and grief. It feels, to me, speaking for myself, it just kind of feels like a hole.
Yeah.
Is there something that used to be, which is very difficult. But something that I read, a quote, and it said, grieving is just love with no place to go.
Wow.
Yeah. And you can grieve a lot of things. You could grieve a person, you could grieve a job, a career, a relationship. So, it doesn't technically just have to be people. It could be something that you thought was going to be that didn't end up being how you thought it was, or, a number of things.
Now, I want to dig deeper into this, but I first wanted to ask you, of course, everyone knows Dad from the show. Everyone loved him on the show. Everyone saw him as a father figure, of course. Some people even said that he reminded them of their dad.
Yeah, he loved that.
Which he loved to hear. Or some of them said they wished he was their dad. Mm-hmm. How would you describe Dad to people who may not be familiar with him?
Ooh, don't worry, I got my tissue. I'm not pulling them out my butt. I swear to your butt and pillow. It's hard.
Yeah.
I would describe Dad as, just one of a kind.
Yeah.
Charismatic, spoke his mind, lit up a room.
Yeah.
He could make a friend with anybody.
Yeah.
Or enemy, okay? You don't want to be on his bad side.
No.
but just really intelligent, a well of information, intelligent, funny, all the things. He was amazing. He was my first best friend.
Yeah.
I mean, you're my best friend as well now. But you know, he's my forever best friend.
Of course, baby.
So yeah, he's just a great man.
Yeah.
Talented, leader.
Yeah.
All the things.
All the things. I think about the times when I was coming to the studio to work. I would stop by his place sometimes. And, you know, I remember it would always be like, I'd just stop in thinking it was just going to be like a short visit.
Yeah. I forgot talkative.
Yeah. He was the most talkative man.
That man could talk.
Oh
okay?
my gosh. But
my goodness.
He you know, he'd be like, come in, sit down for a while. And then, you know, 3 hours later, I'm like, oh man, you know, I really got to go.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, you know, you got to like learn to be better about ending conversations. I'm like, you know, the truth was I just enjoyed it, you know, and it's been tough to not be able to talk to him.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely loved telling his stories.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure everybody in this room can attest to that. He will tell you some stories. He will talk for sure.
Yeah.
God, and it's like, sometimes I'll be like, oh, here he is telling another story again.
Same story again.
You know, but it's like, now I miss the stories.
Yeah.
Ooh, Lord.
Oh, yeah. Talking about how he had to get out of town and join the Navy.
Yeah. But, you know, he was, like I said, an amazing man. And it's funny because we just went to an event a couple of days ago and like 3 people asked us about Dad.
Yeah.
Like, hey, just want to say, you know, those who didn't know he passed, how's your dad doing? Like, he's amazing. And, you know, of course, we had to tell him he passed. Yeah. But somebody else was like, I love the content with you and your dad. Like, he was amazing. Or I love him on the show. So, you know, he struck a chord with people all around the world. So,
yeah.
And I honestly just feel so blessed that I got to share my dad with the world, you know, because he deserved to be shared. He was really a great, amazing guy.
And I think for all the accolades that he had in his life and all the successes, I think the thing that people identify the most with is how much he loved you. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still a daddy's girl through and through.
Of course.
You know, always will be. So like going through grief, circling back there, it is one of the most challenging things I've ever gone through, you know, losing a parent.
Yeah.
And there have been a few things that have helped me that I want to share with you guys. If you're going through grief or someone in your family's going through grief, I just wanted to share a couple things.
Yeah.
So the first one being keeping myself anchored, because it's so easy to just continue to fall into darkness and be sad, and which also you have to feel all the feelings. You can't just be like, I'm okay today, you know, I'm just gonna act like nothing happened, because that grief is gonna follow you. As soon as you go home and sit down after being busy all day, it's gonna come tap you on the back like, we've been waiting for you.
Yeah.
You know, so definitely feel all the feelings and give yourself permission to feel and be sad, be angry, be, you know, whatever it is that you're feeling, happy because you're remembering great memories of someone. But as I was saying, also being anchored, for me, that's been like my faith.
Yeah.
Because, man, when you're going through really hard, tough times, you really need to anchor yourself. You need something, whether it's meditation, prayer, faith, your community, something to kind of pull you back from the darkness. And really, like, I joined the church that we were going to. Shout out to Change Church and Pastor Darius. And prayer. Because just, like, remembering, like, okay, this is a hard time, but God has brought me through other hard times. And I know that the same God that did that for me is going to do the same thing here.
Yeah.
Journaling has helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Really getting my thoughts, feelings, emotions down on paper. Because It's always great when you could talk to your community and your friends and your family, but sometimes there are just certain thoughts and things that maybe you just want to share with yourself. You just want to put it on paper. And also it's something that you could read back whenever you're ready in the future and just kind of look at your growth or remember a fond memory or whatever the case may be.
So I wanted to ask, is there something that surprised you about the grieving process, something you've taken away you weren't expecting?
I think the triggers. The triggers can happen at any time, right after Dad passed, and anything that reminded me of him was like, oh my God, it just spun me back to that place.
Yeah.
One of them was going grocery shopping, which was not expected, but it's something that me and Dad did all the time together. That was our activity. So when I had went to the grocery store without him for the first time, it was he loved these oranges. I know that sounds silly, but that's how it was. And This was his favorite spice. But now I've learned to be I'm gonna get this spice and use this tonight because that was Dad's favorite. And that's kind of my little way of honoring him. Or I know Dad really loved this drink, so let's get this tonight in celebration of him. And I was going to say, next on my grief list, things that help me is therapy.
Yeah.
Okay. Grief counseling. And there are free services that you can do. You don't have to pay a super expensive therapist, but ooh, child, that really helped me a lot. Because it helped me to switch my way of thinking in a lot of ways. I think when someone passes or you're grieving something, it's particularly for me and my dad, it was man, I'm in my 30s, 30 lates. And it was man, I have to spend the next 50 years of my life without my dad. That just made me so sad and depressed, just because I feel there's so much more to my life that he won't be there for. A lot of breaks.
It's okay, baby.
Sorry, y'all. But after speaking with my therapist, she was try looking at it this way. That may be he won't be present physically for the next portion of your life, but think about how blessed you are that he was around for the first 30, almost 40 years of your life. Don't be laughing at me. What a blessing that is that you got to experience him and he taught you all these things and you had this beautiful relationship, and that's something that you could carry with you for the rest of your life. So I think just switching to a mindset of gratefulness really helped me.
Yeah.
And I know I'm talking a lot.
No, babe, this is about you ultimately.
Okay. I was going to say also it was important for me to do that because at the same time, we're going through IVF.
Right.
And that's two different extreme ends of the life spectrum, grieving someone who passed while also trying to prepare your body to receive life and to create a healthy child.
Yeah.
So for me, my grieving, like I said, it's important to feel all the things, but for me, I had to put a little asterisk by that because although I wanted to grieve, since I was going through IVF, I couldn't really be balled up in a corner all the time crying because of the stress that would do to my body while I'm trying to get pregnant, because that could alter our possibilities of conceiving.
Yeah, I think that was something that I was thinking a lot about at the time. And I remember that we were supposed to do the implantation in December, but there was a big delay.
Thank God.
And thank God, right? I mean, it seems like divine timing that it was pushed until January because otherwise it would not have been the right time.
No, because it was literally our original date was supposed to be right before Dad passed or after. And I'm
right before.
That God did that.
Yeah.
God did that because my body, I was not in any way, shape, or form physically, mentally ready for that.
Yeah.
So we were in the middle of our IVF cycle. So a couple weeks later, we continued and we did our implantation. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Just that period of having to juggle grieving dad and also like, man, I gotta, what am I gonna do? So I think that really changing that perspective for me of going from, oh my God, like, what am I gonna do? Like, he won't be here. I'm like, that whole looking at it as, it's good. I'm still blessed that I got that time. And also, I know, one more thing about grief.
No, keep going.
It's not something that disappears. And I know that I'm still early in my grieving. I mean, my dad just passed 4 months ago. So this is something that's a lifelong thing. And it never disappears. I think it just changes with you and you grow around it.
Yeah.
So I'm also accepting that. Like, I could be triggered 30 years from now and just be like, oh, my dad, I miss my dad. That's just how it is.
Yeah. But how would you say that it's changed you? How has it made you grow as a person?
Grieving dad?
Yeah.
I think that it's changed me as a person because it's really, one, made me realize time is precious. He passed unexpectedly on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, Dad always had to be the head of the show, okay? The center of attention on Christmas, Daddy. Goodness gracious. But I think that it's made me realize time is precious. You really honestly never know.
No.
To just really appreciate people and the time that you have with them. But also, like, even going through the whole process of, like, planning his funeral and meeting with family and everything, he was so loved, and he literally has an amazing legacy. I can't even say had because it still lives on. Like, his legacy, what he's done in the industry, who he was, his relationships, how people felt about him, how he made them feel.
Yeah.
And that's really made me think about my own life and the legacy that I want to leave.
Yeah.
And just like, what I want to do in this life and for the world and what I want to contribute. He always said it's one thing to live in the world, but it's another thing to be a contributor. How are you going to contribute to this world? And he did that.
Do you want to share some of that legacy that you've been thinking about?
For me?
Yeah.
Well, sure. One of the things is my nonprofit. I know we've been talking about this for a while, but for real, y'all, for real. This year, we have some things that we're planning to really get into the community, boots down, using our voice, using our platform, our relationship to really seed into the community, help where we grew up. For me in Detroit, also living in Atlanta now for a long time. So here as well. And just like doing that, really contributing, helping, because it's one thing to be like, oh, you're famous. I really don't even like calling myself famous. Oh my God. You're a public figure. But it's like, what does that mean really? Like, what are you going to do with that?
Right.
What is that?
Yeah, what are you going to do with that platform?
Yeah, it's like use that to do something. So I'm so excited that I'm physically creating something where it's like, all right, it's time.
Yeah.
It's time. So
no, I'm really excited to see your nonprofit.
It's called the Eddie Mae Robbie Foundation, by the way.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you've been working on it for a long time. And of course, for our audience, you can't always see what's happening behind the scenes to get everything ready. Mm-hmm. They only really get to see the tip of the iceberg in terms of everything that we're working on.
And shout out to Tiffany, because she's my right hand. She has been literally helping me get through everything. Life, the nonprofit, work, IVF, everything. That's my girl. So y'all go blow up her page and send her some heart emojis.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, this show wouldn't be possible without Tiffany.
Yeah.
Amongst many, many things that we do.
How about you, though? How has, I guess, grieving dad, affected you? Or, how's your mental state been?
Yeah, that's a good question, hon. I have been grieving dad, but I've done it more privately because I felt like I had to be a solid foundation for you and the rest of the family. And I didn't want to bring my emotions into the mix in that way. You know what I mean?
Oh, baby, you can always show your emotions. This is always a safe spot.
No, I recognize that it's a safe spot. What I'm saying is, I didn't want to add to your plate of processing emotions because you, of course, Nicholas, Mom, the rest of the family, had so much to process. And
It's okay, baby. I got some tissues back here. It's a little wet from my water bottle.
Dad, he wanted me to keep it together.
Yeah.
For everyone.
And we haven't really talked about him publicly too, so this is hard for us.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, I think he would be incredibly proud of you. I know he would be incredibly proud of you.
Yeah.
For stepping up, being a great man, being a great support system, loving his daughter and my mom and my brother and, holding him down.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to have a lot of conversations that, we just the two of us. And, I'm grateful for that time. Yeah.
I'm grateful you two had that time because I know a lot of people watching the show, they're always like, well, how is, Cam and your dad's relationship? They're so interested in how it developed. And you and Dad, you were his son,
Yeah. Yeah. He, and he had so much to say, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And he was such an emotional guy himself.
Yeah, he was.
So, it was, I'm glad I got to see inside that world.
Me too, baby.
Yeah.
And one thing that Dad would always talk about, which is so interesting that we were also going through IVF simultaneously, is how much he wanted a grandchild. I can't wait till y'all have a grandbaby. I can't wait. And I think too, as soon as I found out that Dad passed, one of the first things I did was run into the room crying, of course, and being like, oh my God, he'll never get to see me be pregnant. And it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But that same night, I had a dream.
Yeah.
And if y'all are like me, I believe in the power of dreams and communication with the spirit world. I believe that that's how God communicates with us. That's in the Bible. And I had a dream about my dad, and it was the first dream I've ever had where I was clear and very present. I knew exactly what I was saying. I knew all the things. And so, I was talking to my dad and I said, Dad, oh my God, how are you? Are you basically enjoying heaven? He's like, yeah, it's cool, And I was like, man, I'm so sorry that you didn't get a chance to see me get pregnant. And he was like, I'll see it. And I just remember my dream being like, So does that mean I'm getting pregnant? And I asked him some other stuff in between. But after I said that, he was like, all right, I got to go now.
Too many questions.
I swear, that's really how the dream went. He was like, all right, baby, I love you. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
But I just woke up feeling so like, wow, that was really dad that visited me.
Yeah.
You know, I could feel it. So shifting back to the IVF, it was kind of, I never really felt a sense of pressure with IVF, but this round was different.
Yeah.
Especially because dad passed, and to be honest, a selfish part of me just wanted a new memory for Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, which would hopefully be having a newborn. So, you know, just a little bit more about our IVF journey. I know we've talked about it in a couple videos.
Right, but we haven't really delved very deep in it.
Mm-hmm. We started trying to get pregnant about 4 years ago.
January 2021.
Woo, it's been a journey, y'all.
Yeah.
For real. And, you know, after trying naturally for a while and being unsuccessful, we decided to seek some help.
Right.
So that's when we started our IVF journey. We've been doing that for a little over 2 years.
Yep.
Since then, we've done, God, for those of you who know fertility talk, this may just sound like mumbo jumbo to y'all, but for those of y'all that are here for the IVF portion, 4 IUIs, unsuccessful, 3 egg retrievals. Mm-hmm. We've had 3 implantations.
Yep.
Including a miscarriage.
I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that or not.
I mean, it's part of our journey. We're laying it all out.
I'm happy to talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, which was extremely difficult.
Yeah, it was one of the darkest times for us.
Yeah. And so, you know, this last implantation for us, for me, it had to be filled with hope. Like, we had to hold on to something, because even all throughout our journey that we've been through, we've really, Cam in a lot of times has been the one to be like, it's okay. Like, we got this. God's got us. Like, God spoke to me. It's going to be so. And I know I thanked you in the last video, but I want to thank you again for just continuing to support me through this journey. And,
yes. Is there something you want to share, baby?
So this last IVF implantation, because I said we did 3. 1 was a fail, 1 was a miscarriage, and this last one, like I said, after 4 years of trying, it was successful and we're pregnant.
Hey! Let's go.
Oh, Lord, the neighbor's going to be like, somebody got it good. Yay. Praise the Lord.
Hey.
God is so good. God is so good.
God is
my
good.
God, y'all.
All the time.
It happens. We are pregnant.
Yes.
There's a baby Hamilton on the way.
Oh, my goodness.
It's been a long time coming.
So long. 4 years.
Change is going to come. So how did you feel? Wait, let's just take it back to that day. When we tested.
Uh-huh.
So we actually tested at home before, you know, you're supposed to go in and do a blood test to find out if you're pregnant.
Yep.
So I was like, you know, I can't take the anticipation of waiting like a whole day to figure out we're pregnant. So when we woke up in the morning, I took a pregnancy test. I took 2.
Yep.
And so I was like, Cam, you ready? We were both so nervous. He's like, nervous. I think so. Cam was like pacing. I was like, you making me like relax.
I mean,
goodness.
We were drawing it out.
Had
like,
the dogs
let's do
nervous
already.
and all types of stuff.
Yeah.
Dogs was like, what's going on?
Yeah, they were confused.
So we took the test, and then I put them face down because I was like, okay, I can't if we just keep walking by. Like, so we flipped them down, and I was like, that was the longest 3 minutes of our life. Oh my God, it was so long.
Yeah, I was outside with the dogs, and then you came out. You're like, let's look at the test. I'm like, get in the house, dogs.
Oh, Lord. So And we didn't tape the actual flip, but we taped after because I don't know, my nerves were high.
Sometimes you just have to live in the moment and not tape everything.
So it was like 1, 2, 3. And we saw 2 lines. I was like, oh my God, we're pregnant. And I feel like Cam like lifted me up. I'm like, I'm pregnant, man. Put me down. Like, you a little rough. But he was excited. He was really excited.
Yeah, it was.
So what was the first thing that you thought when you saw those 2 stripes?
Oh, man. It was just a colossal sense of relief.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was gratitude, relief, excitement. But I mean, it felt so out of body that I couldn't be like, I wasn't like fully excited because I was just like, felt like I'd left my body.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like.
Felt like you left your body.
Yeah. Just like looking down, like, oh, wow.
Like, wow. Yeah, I feel that. I think I was just grateful. I think I immediately fell to my knees and was like, thank you, Lord. Because, you know, it was just so many emotions with Dad passing and then finding out if we were pregnant because I didn't want it to not be pregnant because I just knew that would send me into a spiral, like a not good spiral, you know?
Yeah.
So I was just grateful. I was so grateful. And we just hugged each other. And we cried and the dogs ran up and they were confused. Like, what's going on? But it was a really beautiful moment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was a beautiful moment, baby.
And then my mom called later that night. So what happened?
Oh, yeah.
Like, dang, Ma.
Our parents called immediately.
We didn't even get a chance to plan a nice surprise. And
No. Well, they knew we were going for the implantation, so.
Yeah, and they knew it was testing days. My mom literally called me a couple hours after, like, so?
Yeah.
I was like, so? Like, I tried to draw it out. She was like, girl, you pregnant or not?
What's right. I know.
So she's super excited as well. And her parents.
And you did a big surprise with Auntie Sheila and Nicholas.
Oh, yeah. I have footage of telling my brother that we're pregnant. Here it is. Y'all take a look.
All right. Open
it up now.
Mystery gift. There we have
Danny's favorite color.
Wait. What?
Some bloomers.
What?
What is this?
What?
Oh, you're kidding.
What?
Someone in the...
Man, I'm ready for Uncle Nick.
It was so sweet. I surprised him with onesies.
Yeah, that's beautiful, baby.
My aunt, who's older, she was like, is this bloomers? What is this?
Like, come on, you know that's a baby's onesie.
Oh, man, but a beautiful thing. Man, first off, all praise be to God. Thank you, Lord. I believe that there's a reason why we went on this journey, and I believe that it's to share our testimony.
Yeah. I have a lot of testimony to share.
Oh, absolutely. Secondly, I want to say thanks, Dad, because I feel like, we got pregnant 4 weeks after he passed.
Yeah.
And where I'm at on tissues. Oh, here we go. After he passed, I just remember going to his grave and being like, look, Dad, if you gonna check out, okay, I know you up there in heaven. You up there with all the souls and whatnot. I said, I know that our baby's up there right now. So if you gonna check out, it's only fair that you send the baby down.
Yeah.
A couple weeks later, we're pregnant.
It's a miracle.
Yeah, I mean, it's more little things that happen that I feel like Dad is
there's so
involved.
many signs.
Consequences. I mean, consequences, that's the right. Pregnancy brain, y'all. What's the word I'm looking for? There's so many coincidences.
Yep.
Coincidence.
Yep. Yeah, I had a dream.
Yeah.
Sometime in that 4-week period where I remember he had come downstairs and he was wearing that orange Hawaiian shirt that he liked.
Oh, yeah, one of his favorites.
And I was like, oh my God, he's alive. And I ran over and I hugged him.
Wow.
And when I stepped back, he had a very serious expression, and he said, "I'm God's little message." And I was like mulling that over, like, what does that mean? You know.
Listen, if this baby Is my dad reincarnated, y'all? Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
Oh, man.
But we are so excited to for this next chapter.
Yes.
Just sharing one more coincidence about dad and the baby.
Yeah.
When we were cleaning out his place, we found an old Bible, which was, I think it was like his mom's Bible. Now, my dad was born in the 1940s, so this Bible was old. It's like falling apart.
Yep.
We opened up the Bible, and it was a bookmarker in there.
Yep.
And, we've been mulling over some names. We're not going to share anything yet, but one of them is a biblical name.
Mm-hmm.
When we opened up the Bible, it was on the name that we've been thinking about. And I was like, this is like, Dad is giving us a sign.
Yeah.
Fast forward to the night before we do our implantation. Something told me like, let me go get the dad's Bible that we found. So I go get it. I open it. I'm like, let me just read the passage that the bookmarker was on. So as we lift, because we did it together, as we lift the Bible, Dad's picture falls out. We didn't even know his picture was in there. I was like, oh, okay, Dad, you're here. Yeah, you're here. So I really feel like he, put in a good word for the man upstairs for us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just gratitude is the thing that fills my mind every day.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up every morning grateful. Before I go to bed, I'm grateful, and we've been working at this for, as you said, 4 years, 2 years of IVF. I do, I want to get into the pregnancy, but I also want to just say quickly about IVF that there's a lot of people out there who are saying like, just relax and it will happen. Like, don't stress. Like, you just have to relax and you'll get pregnant. For me, I feel like that can be misleading because one, the subtext really is that it's the couple's fault that they haven't gotten pregnant because they're not relaxed. Right. And I think that's wrong to tell a couple that's trying to conceive to try to put this blame on them that, because they haven't been relaxed, that's why they haven't conceived. So my perspective on trying to get pregnant is sometimes you have to be proactive. If you've been trying naturally and it hasn't happened yet, see what you can do, be proactive about it, whether that's IUIs or IVF or just even timing the cycles better.
Yeah, going to the doctor, running some tests. Speaking of that, when we were having a hard time conceiving, when we did go to the doctor, I found out that I had fibroids. I didn't even know I had fibroids. I left that out. So in between all the stuff that I named, I also had to have a surgery to remove my fibroids. And this is our first time doing an implantation after the fibroids were removed and we became pregnant. Yeah. So it could be a number of things. So, take a trip to your doctor, run some tests, get a good checkout, and start your journey. So Cam, I know it was a lot of stuff that I had to go through as a woman with IVF testing. You want to talk a little bit about what you had to go through as a man? Yeah,
absolutely. So I think for a lot of men, they just assume that they're good when it comes to fertility. I remember a couple of years ago, it must have been now, they asked me to do semen analysis, which I was like, yeah, sure. And I learned a lot about male fertility very quickly because when I did the test, the numbers basically were not good. And I started to panic a little bit. And I learned that there was a lot of things I was doing that were impacting my fertility in a negative way. First and foremost was like the period of abstinence. I thought, the longer I wait, the better the semen quality. No, it's the opposite because the body breaks them down over time, the sperm. And so, there's a 2 to 4 window day, a 2 to 4 day window where they're the best. Other things, lifestyle changes, cutting out alcohol, cutting out smoking, cutting out artificial sweeteners, deli meats, And obviously the processed stuff is not good for us. We all kind of know that. Supplementing with a multivitamin, CoQ10. I mean, all this stuff is kind of the generic stuff you might hear from the doctor, but I mean, I basically went from having terrible numbers to having above average fertility numbers. So men, there are actionable things that you can do to improve your fertility. It's just some lifestyle changes, generally speaking. But, cutting out these things that you don't really need in your life. Also, I had a hernia surgery the same year that you had the fibroid surgery. I don't know if that impacted it or not, but yeah, we both needed some healing.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So yeah, I would say for men, you need to get a semen analysis, make sure you're good. There are a number of, like men's fertility supplements that you can take that really do have an impact. I went deep into the research, something that I want to talk more about in the future, make some videos on just that topic. But, men contribute. I think if you were to break it down, like, I think it's basically like even in terms of women and men and how they're the factor in infertility, right? And most of the time, it's both the men and the women contributing partially to that. And it's not like fertility is not a binary thing. It's not like you're fertile or you're infertile. It's like a gradient where you can do things to optimize your fertility, right? So it's something to think about.
Yeah.
I've also heard people say, well, IVF is not natural, right? And there's kind of this linkage to spirituality or God to say like, well, the natural way is the right way, basically. But if you are taking this spiritual perspective, my thought is, well, if that's the case, everything is under God's domain. Everything in this world, this universe is under God's domain, right? So don't limit yourself because IVF is of God. If you want to take that route, right? Everything is under God's domain and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful option to have. And, it's marvelous that we've made these advancements.
Yeah. I know when we first started talking about IVF, I will tell y'all, I was one of those people.
Yeah.
I was like, if we can't get pregnant naturally, like, is it meant to be? I don't know. It feels like we're like forcing the pregnancy, but I prayed about it. Okay. And I do believe that God provides medical advances for us to take care of ourselves and, be able to advance in our life in a healthy way. So yeah, let us be a testimony to you if you're going through just difficulty in general. At one of the darkest times in my life, God provided us a spark of light to remind us that I'm always here. My Uncle Bob, my dad's brother, night before my dad's funeral, he came up to me and he said, I just want to let you know that God never takes something from you that he will not replace. And I think, of course, he was talking about, it could have been a number of things, but I think he's talking about a baby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I believe that to be true. God does not take anything from us that he will not replace. So, just let our story be a testimony. There are many times where we felt hopeless. I felt hopeless. God, just from IVF, from losing my father, just from battling depression from both of those things, feeling sad, like, Lord, are you there? It's been times where I was just like, hello, God, hello.
Right.
But really always coming back to center and realizing that God's divine timing is the greatest. And I just want to encourage all of you, keep your head up. God will bring you through. And sometimes it's on the other side of your struggle.
Yeah, that's beautiful, honey.
with all that said, man, this felt like a therapy session,
Yeah.
didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Wow, that was a dump. It really
Not a dump.
No, like a dump. Like we're dumping, like not like a dump, like trash. Like we're dumping talking dump.
Information, yeah.
You never heard that? Like you go to therapy and
I'm
like
just
you're
teasing
dumping?
you, baby.
Okay.
I'm teasing.
So anyway, talking about our next phase of life, we're so excited. I wanted to ask you, Cam.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about for this next chapter for us?
I'm most excited about being parents.
Da, da, da. The Hamiltons as parents.
I know. No, I've dreamed about us being parents. I mean, I'm not naive enough to think that it's not going to be without some major challenges.
Oh, for sure.
For sure. So I'm still looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a dream come true, honestly.
Yeah.
So I'm just very, very excited. I mean, there's so many parts of it that I think about. I think about the fact that, you know, we're carrying our family on to the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically us, you and me. We created this little human together,
Yeah.
you know?
I'm super looking forward to being a mom. Oh my God. And it's going to be a fall baby too.
Oh,
I can't wait to like dress the baby like a little pumpkin.
Oh, yeah.
Have
A
like
turkey.
Halloween birthday parties. Ugh, I can't wait.
Oh,
Pictures
my
with the
gosh.
leaves and like throwing them like, yay. You know, actually I'm allergic to leaves, so
Yeah, that's true. We did an allergy test.
hopefully the baby doesn't.
I didn't know someone could be allergic to so many different trees
That's me.
and horses.
That's me. And horse. I know I wanted a horse, but I digress.
Yeah.
So I guess we're super excited, feeling grateful, feeling blessed. And, you know, we want to continue to take you guys on this journey with us. I mean, y'all been rocking with us for
5 years.
5+ years now. Some of y'all longer who knew us before Love is Blind. But it's about to get real interesting now.
Oh, yeah.
So y'all be sure that if you're not subscribed to the channel, that you hit that subscribe button. We're going to do, of course, more love seat conversations.
Mm-hmm.
More love seat conversations. Our vlogs that we're going to start back doing.
Yep.
More hanging with the Hamilton episodes and our journey as parents.
Absolutely. Yeah. We really want to dig into our pregnancy because we've been waiting for it for such a long time.
And y'all have too, because Lord, I'm so tired of y'all asking, and thank the Lord.
Yes.
Okay?
Oh,
yes. we
Also,
are
I have a
pregnant.
PSA.
Uh-oh.
If you see us out in public, do not try to rub her belly. I will be very rude to you, and I will probably give you a stiff arm. So
Not the stiff arm.
don't
We don't
do
want
that.
people to press charges, Cam. You can't
Okay.
be.
Yeah, cut that from the tape, but know that I will do that.
Oh, Lord, not my baby daddy in jail. He in jail already. But anyway, thank you guys. Yeah. The journey continues.
The journey continues.
And we'll see y'all next time on
The Love
The
Seat.
Love Seat.